Sheldon, what's your reaction to full parole for Graham James?
Well, thanks for having me on, Andrew. I think I was just disappointed. I continually think about the individuals that he impacted and their families that are also impacted. I think that we see them struggle continually. I know the commitment that it takes to change. I know the commitment that it takes to get over this type of crime and the mental impact, the mental health impact that it has. And you get into the place of management, managing the way that you feel. So, I was disappointed today, but I also think it's a day that gives us an opportunity to teach and to have society understand that a shift needs to happen. The science is clear today that the impact of early childhood trauma when kids live in sustained toxic stress environments such as sexual abuse, such as the crime that Graham James has lifelong impacts. And that is what we know today. Over 80% of mental health issues in this country stem from adverse childhood experiences. So with knowing that, I think that we need a shift and we need to fill the gap that exists between the sentencing and the impact of this crime.
How do you think the parole board came to their conclusion?
Well, I'm not sure. I mean, I know their process, and I'm sure that Graham James is a master. I mean, if you look at most of society's understanding of the way that people hurt kids is, what I learned in school, it was the white van that cruised through town that might steal your kid or pick up your child. And the reality is at the Sheldon Kennedy Child Advocacy Center, we do 125 investigations a month, and 98% of these kids know their abuser. 47% of these kids are abused by a parent or caregiver. So the master manipulators that have to manipulate to gain the trust of the families, the organization, and the communities that they work in. Well, Graham James is no different. And I think, I keep going back to Andrew, this isn't the first time Graham James is on full parole. This is the second time that he's applied for full parole and gotten it. The first time he applied for full parole, in my case, where did we find him? We found him in Spain working with young kids. And then the character witnesses that he had in the Holt and Fleury case were two mothers from Guadalajara, Mexico, that had 4 boys each, and they talked about what a great person Graham was, who bought their kids gifts and taught them school. And I'm thinking, well, we've seen this tape before. So the reality is that in my mind, I guess the question would be what would be different this time to convince them that Graham won't be with kids and putting themselves in those positions to be so vulnerable.
The parole board says James has, this is a quote, made observable, measurable progress during your period of day parole, speaking to him. So what would you say to that? Because I know that you spoke with one of my colleagues, I believe Carolyn Dunn, and you say I think it's the manipulation piece that you were just talking about, right? You can be in a controlled environment where you're speaking to a parole board, but then what happens, right? Once you've been granted full parole.
Well, that's right, Andrew. And I think, I'm an individual that it's no secret. I've been in many treatment centers, and we've seen individuals in treatment centers that are there court-ordered, and the way that they are able to manipulate and work the system to be able to get what they want. And I think, it's easy. To stay sober or not reoffend in a controlled environment when there's so many restrictions. So to me, it's, what are we going to do when, individuals are driving past playgrounds or seeing kids go to school, or, in my case, it was like, how are you going to work and what type of commitment are you going to have on a daily basis to commit to not put yourself in those vulnerable situations? I think that he still admits, from my understanding, the parole board, the parole board admits that he still has fantasizes about young boys. To me, what I do know is that it's a significant commitment that needs to happen whenever change occurs, and it's not 10 or 15 counseling sessions and you're good to go. This is a lifelong commitment, and I guess we'll wait and see if Graham's prepared to do that. I don't ever believe that it's about fixing him. I believe he has to get into a management place here.
And I want to bring up something that Theo Fleury brought up today, because he had some strong language in terms of his reaction to all of this, and you were getting at it in terms of there needs to be a change. This is what Theo Fleury had to say in a statement. I say again, Canada is the Disneyland for pedophiles. What do you make of that?
Well, Theron has his opinion, and I know that the individuals such as Graham James, I mean, if I keep going back to the work we do, again, we do all the child abuse investigations in Calgary, and I don't think that the numbers differ from city to city, from town to town. But we do 125 investigations a month, and that's significant. And I think when we start putting these pieces together, the numbers are a lot bigger than I think what we in society realize. I think that we've made significant progress. I look at where we were in the 1990s, and I look at where we're at today. We've got provinces pulling together. We've got in Alberta, we've changed legislation for information sharing. We work as a unit between health, social services, police, to investigate as a collective, as true integrated practice. Again, the whole focus is around the impact on the victim, and I think that's where we need to be, Andrew.
And that's my final question to you, because in the clip, in the piece that we heard, you talked about the invisible damage. Tell me a little bit more about that.
Well, I mean, if we look at the cases that we deal, I mean, a lot of times people have a hard time seeing the impact on the kids that come through our doors. But, the average age of kids that come through our doors out of the 125 a month are 4 to 7. And the issues that they present to us, 68% of them present 3 or more of the following: suicidal ideation, self-harm, addiction, depression, mental health, and the list goes on. So that's what we're dealing with. And I think that what we're trying to do is make visible the invisible. And, if we look at the individuals that have been impacted by child abuse, I mean, 72% of people in treatment centers disclose early childhood abuse. 26 kids that have been abused are 26 times more likely to experience youth homelessness, 30% higher risk of high school dropout, 4 times as many contacts with mental health hospitals. I mean, victims of crime in this country cost us $54 billion a year. I mean, we need to understand that this is real. It's not this, oh, they'll get over it. This is an impact that is real and has significant consequences, not only fiscally, but for all the individuals with our citizens that in our country. And I think we need to start understanding that. And the science is clear that, the impact is real, and it has lifelong impacts on the developing brain of children. So to know better is to do better, and I think we need to get there.